first that already have. Thank you, Molly. All right, we are live. It is Thursday, March 31st at 3:41 p.m. This is the Motor Vehicle Subcommittee, part of the Environment and Transportation Subcommittee. And we're going to take up a series of bills. What I would like to do first is take up the bills that have cross files. So we'll go through those first to get them out of the way, and then we'll dig in on some of the bills that do not have cross files, of which there are two. So SB 0076, Delegate Ellis.
Oh, no,
Well, we're not going to do that one because we don't have a cross file. We'll go next to Senator Eckert's bill 0080. After some conversation with Patrick, we discovered a little bit of an issue, and that is on the other bill. This is the cross file. On the other bill, we put an amendment on it to make it EV golf carts only. The problem is there's a lot of folks in that community that have EV golf carts, but also have combustion or burning golf carts, and so we're trying to figure out how we encourage the future purchase of them without telling people that have gas golf carts they can't actually use them in that community. So unless somebody has a specific idea, like a date or something, the thought was that we just pass the bill as is, and then eventually we'll have to remove the amendment that we put for electric golf carts, which kills me, everybody. But if anybody has a suggestion, that's what Patrick and I talked about. I see you laughing, Neil Parrott. I mean, the only other thing I think, Patrick, that we didn't talk about, but it could get confusing, is if we had it registering in the future, like by 2025 or 2026, that they have to be electric. But I don't know that it's worth all that work to get that
What's
ready.
going on here? I'm sorry.
Move favorable.
second.
So basically, Delegate Anderson, the bill, this is a cross file of the bill we passed earlier. The bill we passed earlier, we put an amendment on it to make them EV golf carts only. The problem is there's a lot of people in the community that have EV golf carts and gas golf carts. We don't want to alienate those people that have gas golf
Exactly.
carts. We just want to encourage people to buy EV golf carts. And I don't know that we have the time and the bandwidth at this moment to proceed with that policy. Delegate Jacobs. Delegate Jacobs.
All right, you got me. There is no penalty provision in this bill, is it?
This is an authorizing bill, so there's no prohibition in it.
But there's no penalty if the police happen to roll up on the golf cart and said, "Hey, is that a gas or electric?" There would not be a penalty if it was gas and not electric. Is that correct?
It would be a maximum $500 fine.
Neil, could you please mute yourself? I think everybody's picked. Thank you. It would be what? I'm sorry, Patrick.
It would be a maximum $500 fine.
So there could be a fine.
It could be a fine, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Foley.
Yeah, I thought this was to allow them to go. I'm not looking at the bill, so I don't know. Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought this was to allow them to not have to have the vehicle registered.
No, it just allows them to drive occasionally on crossing state roads.
So what would be the penalty? Is there actually penalties in this?
Yeah, Patrick just explained it would be a $500 penalty.
For what?
For driving on the road without a registration.
Of any, yeah. And or if we leave the amendment in of being electric.
But that's up to 500. That's not automatic 500.
Correct.
Okay.
Delegate Anderson. Delegate
All right, so let's walk this back. I'm sorry, I was dealing with something in the outer office, and I missed the initial few minutes of the conversation. So the Senate version doesn't have the carve out for only electric, right?
Correct. Just the
And
House.
so, okay, so the Senate's amending the House version to match theirs.
No, the Senate version is over. originally clean without the amendment. We put the amendment on the House version, sent it over to the Senate. Now we have the Senate version, which is clean. It doesn't have our amendment, but they're in two different postures. And then Patrick and I had a conversation last night and kind of discovered that we don't, want to necessarily penalize people that already have gas golf carts. And theoretically, the way that amendment could be interpreted, it could stop people that already have gas golf carts.
My suggestion, let's pass this clean and then have the Senate take the House version and remove that provision. And then we can worry about it next year. Let's just get this done for the folks that live there.
Okay.
Delegate Jacobs.
Well, I think Carl was trying to say the same thing, but
Okay.
what we want to do is remove the House amendment.
There's no House amendment on this one. All we have to do is pass this right now.
Well, this
clean.
one's clean then.
Yeah. So
Okay.
to Carl's point, all we have to do.
Then I
if somebody
second
needs
it.
to move-
You've already moved favorable. I
Okay,
said,
all those in favor will signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Bill passes. Great. Okay. Let's go down to 465, Senate Bill 465, Carter's Vehicle Laws, License Plates and Permit Vehicle Act. This is a cross file of HB 206. Do we need a refresher, or does anybody want to move this bill for thoughts? Or do we have any?
Did we
amendments?
pass to,
206 we passed.
This bill has an amendment to conform it to the House bill. The sponsor, Senator Carter, says she's okay with that.
move the bill?
We have to move the
Second.
amendment first.
Move the amendment.
Sorry, move
you.
second.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? And just a reminder, that amendment just simply puts it in the same posture as the House bill we passed out. On the bill, as amended.
Favorable.
Thank you. Second? Maybe?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor of the favorable signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? House Bill 465 passes. House Bill 520, Senator Washington, motor vehicle speed limits established and enforcement. The cross file is House Bill 434, but is there an amendment on this or anything, Patrick?
And this one, the Senate put an amendment on, whereas the House passed it out clean. This is a weird bill. I'm going to try to be straight here, keep it straight. This bill is partially Baltimore City local and partially statewide.
What is, can you tell me the number again? Sorry.
520.
520.
520.
Thanks.
And the Baltimore City portion, to refresh your memory, it allows them to set speed limits without performing engineering and traffic investigation to decrease and increase to a previously established level. And then the statewide part says that you can't use a speed monitoring system if you've reduced the speed limits.
Without an engineering study.
Engineering and traffic study. And that's where the substantive amendment from the Senate came in. Instead of saying may not implement a new speed monitoring system, it says may not use a speed monitoring system.
So the Senate one says may not use.
Right.
Do we have any idea why they did it that way?
Well, I think saying if like say if they had a speed monitoring system there before, and then they dropped the speed limit, their whole rationale is to avoid the appearance of speed traps.
Right. Whose bill was it originally? House Bill 434.
Delegate Wells.
Okay.
So let me ask a question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So what exactly does the Senate amendment do that makes it different?
It says you can't do a new system.
You cannot do
It
it.
means the House version said you couldn't do a new system. The Senate version says you can't use any system, even if it's already there. I mean, I understand.
Unless you do the engineering study.
Right, unless you do the engineering study. I mean, I sort of think that makes sense. I don't know.
I think it makes sense too.
Okay, so you want to accept the Senate amendment then?
Yeah, the only larger question would be, so if we accept the Senate amendment and we pass that, then the Senate is going to have to amend Melissa's bill and then get it back to us, which I don't know at this point is a really huge deal, but Patrick, you would know better than me as far as timing is concerned.
Oh, that's routine.
Yeah, we can just concur on.
Okay, let's do that then, if everybody's good with that.
Mhm.
Okay, so is there anybody move the,
Move the Senate bill.
Second.
okay. All those in favor of the bill as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes. I'll talk with Melissa to fill her in.
I was opposed to that one, just,
Okay,
thanks.
sure. And then next bill is Senate Bill 731, Senator Watson's vehicle to removal of secured parties. This is the cross file of Delegate Foley's HB 0870. And this has some kind of an amendment, doesn't it, Patrick? Or is it clean?
Yes, this, we, on the House bill, we just had some clarifying language that the advocates and I worked out to make everybody happy. The Senate bill was already going through the floor at that point. So we need to put that amendment on the Senate bill. The Senate sponsor, Senator Watson, has indicated, in fact, he drafted the amendment and said he's fine with that.
Okay, so is there any discussion on the amendment? Delegate Foley?
I move the amendments be added to the Senate bill.
Great.
Second,
Thank you very much, Delegate Healy. All those in favor of adopting the amendments on Senate Bill 731 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, on the bill as amended.
Move the bill as amended.
Second,
Thank you. On Senate Bill 0731 as amended, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. 731 passes. Okay, and we are back to, I guess, Senator Ellis's bill. 76, that's the first one that's not cross-filed. We still need a letter on this bill. Is that not accurate? Patrick, we don't have a letter.
That is correct. And I just wanted to bring to the subcommittee's attention that this bill does follow the protocol for golf carts that we've generally followed in bills that have passed, but it also has low-speed vehicles in it, which doesn't make much sense to me because low-speed vehicles are street legal.
Yeah, why would that even be? I don't understand that either. Why would low-speed vehicles be coupled in with golf carts?
They don't need that.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a letter right now anyway, so until we get a letter, there's not a whole lot we can do unless anybody else has anything they wanted to do to talk about this bill. Has anybody notified the senator's office, Patrick, that we don't have a letter?
Not to my knowledge.
Did the Senate pass it without a letter?
Looks like it.
No, they probably got a letter from the Senate delegation. We need a letter from the House delegation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's just hold the bill for now. I mean, there's issues with the bill anyway, with the low speed part that we would have to dig in on, and we don't have a letter anyway. So I'll talk with Patrick. We'll get to them that we need a letter from the House delegation. That's the first piece before, and then we can look at it to see what that low speed vehicles does to the bill and what that means. And also Cobb Island. I don't know anything about Cobb Island. I don't know where it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's a retirement community.
I can tell you about it.
Is that the place where they grow a lot of corn?
No, it's an island in Charles County that's a planned community with sort of its own. It's very it's insulated, right? It's not, there's one way in and one way out. So
Okay.
It's very pretty.
Well, maybe if we can get a delegation letter, we can discuss it further.
Any other communities that I've been to around the state that you'd like to tell me, that you'd like me to tell you about?
I'm sure you've been to all of them.
Yes.
Several times.
If worse comes to worse, you could become a tour guide.
Right.
I'm sure you'll be okay. So Senate Bill 176, that's a judicial proceedings committee bill. I'm guessing that is an administrative bill.
It's a departmental, yes.
Departmental bill. And this bill sounds familiar. We don't have a cross file on it though.
We did have a somewhat similar bill 4 years ago in 2018, sponsored by Adams and Beidel. A lot of the testimony on that bill had some suggestions, which looks like it made it into this bill.
We heard it last week, I think.
Yeah. Can you give us a primer on exactly what the bill does?
Well, the bill requires a person that's transporting a child under 2 to secure in a rear-facing child safety seat unless the height or weight limit that's specified by the manufacturer, the child outgrows that.
How is that different from current Maryland state law?
Well, current law just says person transporting a child under 8 in a motor vehicle shall secure the child in child safety seat in accordance with the child safety seat and vehicle manufacturer's instructions, unless the child is 4'9" or taller.
So it's the rear facing part?
Well, I think most rear facing say you have to go to at least 1. I think the testimony said that, but this is saying in law that you have to go to 2 unless the manual for this child safety seat says
Oh, I see.
the height and weight and your child exceeds that.
So currently it doesn't say a child under 2 has to be rear facing, or did that bill in 2018 we passed did that part already?
Well, the instructions for the child safety seat generally at least say up to 1.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it came over from the Senate. I think just my personal opinion, raising 2 kids, the more that we can keep those children in a rear facing child seat and in any child seat, but specifically rear facing, the longer we can keep them, the safer it is for them. But Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering, because I was thinking back to my kids and how long I had them in rear facing. And I was wondering if there was testimony as to why 2 was chosen. And if we knew anything about the height and weight restrictions, whether those are average or what we know about this. I mean, yes, rear facing, we need to do this. I agree. I'm just wondering if there's anything about 2.
There is testimony. There is testimony about 2 from the medical community. I think
MedChi.
also,
MedChi.
Yeah, also pushes that. But there's, in terms of the numbers, I remember doing the research on this 4 years ago, and there are so many seats out there with so many varied requirements. It's just and which probably makes any of this virtually unenforceable. But unless police officers can look right on it and see, because it is on the seat. But yeah, I mean, really, this is putting a backstop up there that parents, look at your seats, get your best seats for your child, and be aware of what the limits are and follow them.
And I think,
Thank you.
Hi, this is April with the MVA. How are you? I just wanted to offer a little bit of clarification. We just wanted to be able to clarify any confusing statements that were out there with parents. The age of 2 definitely came from the medical community, as well as like NHTSA and the American Academy of Pediatrics. So we wanted to set a standard to let everyone know this is the guideline, 2 years old, here's the height and weight, because as Patrick said, there's a ton of different types of guidelines on different manufacturers. So we just wanted to make sure that this was communicated clearly throughout the community in our state.
Thank you, April. And I don't see it, all of the testimonies favorable.
yeah.
So
I think if I remember correctly, one of the things that said most is when there's a car accident and you've got a child facing frontwards, the trajectory to go frontwards and potentially cause more harm, because you've got children who are still not really able to totally kind of control their bodies or their heads. They talked about head size being bigger than the body, and the more likelihood for injury to children facing frontwards due to that versus being facing the other way. So
yeah, I don't think the neck muscles are developed or fully developed. So Okay, well,
I've moved favorable on the bill.
Second.
okay, great. Okay, all those, and this bill is clean, right? April, Patrick, the bill is clean. I don't see any
Correct.
amendments. No amendments.
No
Okay.
amendments.
All
Well,
those in
I
favor
should,
of the favorable.
Mr. Chairman, I should let the subcommittee know that the Senate did put an amendment on it that required a warning for a first violation, not of child safety seats, but just of this provision.
Okay.
Up to 2 years in rear facing.
Okay, but the bill as it is now, that was put on in the Senate, right? We don't, it's clean from the
Right.
Senate.
Right, but the thing is, the weird thing is that if you violate the child safety seat, between 2 and 8, then you would be subject to a fine. But if you do it for the 2-year-old, your first one's a warning, or under 2.
It doesn't seem right.
Seems
April?
bad.
I mean, it may be, you're a new parent and you don't know what to do.
April, do you have any comment on this?
No, we have no comment on that.
Does that mean you like it or you don't like it? Please give us some direction here.
I'm trying to stay partial here. We understood where that was coming from, where if you are a new parent as such, the delegate brought up, then, it is just a warning. Listen, you do need to keep your child rear facing. We understood where that point was coming from.
If I could also just add in, Kevin Knight, M.MBA as well. The way that it's written now, if this were to pass, those who are between 2 years old and 8 years old, if they're found in violation of this, could go to court and get the fine waived by proving that they purchased the child safety seat to begin with. So this would just give a verbal warning instead of a court order or going to court over it for those under 2.
For the first offense.
Correct, for the first offense.
And that's what Kevin just described as current law.
Okay. So the amendment, the Senate amendment keeps that within current laws. Is that what you're saying, Patrick?
Yes, it's not.
Okay. So, but we don't have to do anything. The bill has already been amended in the Senate. So as long as we're okay with the amendment they put on the Senate, which conforms it to the current law, then we might.
No. The amendment makes the waiver.
But I thought you just said that was, did I misunderstood? I thought you said that's the current law as it is.
The current, what Kevin just said about being able to go to court and prove that you've gotten a correct child safety seat, and then you can get a waiver of the fine is correct, and that's current law.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to understand. So with the new law, the one that we have in front of us now, as it came in, did it put it in the same posture as the current law for the older children without the Senate amendment?
What the bill does is it says that in addition to current child safety seat requirements, if you're under 2, up until the age of 2, the child has to be in a rearward facing seat in accordance with the specifications of the manufacturer. So if the manufacturer specifications are 4 foot 9 inches tall, once the child hits well, you're not going to hit that at 2, but
Right.
if say 30 pounds, then, and you turn it around at a year and a half, then that's following the specifications. But the specifications are all over the map.
But this basically says if you're within specifications, you should have the child facing rear as long as you up at least until 2.
Up at least until 2, correct.
But as far as the amendment that the Senate put on it, that amendment does, I thought from what we just heard that amendment comports the bill to be current state law as far as a warning is concerned. But you're saying that's incorrect.
No, what Kevin said is that you can go to court if you get a fine, prove that you've purchased a child safety seat, and then get the fine waived.
That's what this amendment does?
No, this amendment says that the first violation for the new provision for up to 2-year-olds is a warning.
Okay, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we know why the Senate put it on? Was it, I just completely lost my thought. Do we know why the Senate put it on? I think I'll stop there.
Well, we could find out. And I think April, correct me if I'm wrong, I think April alluded to the fact that Delegate Learman's point about new parents played a factor in it.
No, that is correct.
Yeah, but new parents, you have the infancy. That's very different than
But that's
rear facing.
If I could again, also, Chrissy talked about this in the Senate hearing as well. A lot of the child safety seats nowadays are actually designed that they grow with the child. And so initially you can start with a child being rear facing and then flip the seat to forward facing using the same child safety seat.
Right.
So one of the things that we were looking to address with this is there's a lot of confusion because manufacturer safety guidelines have a gray area where a child's size could suggest, based on the way that the guidelines are written, that they're large enough to be forward facing. But we know now, based on age, until they're 2 years old, generally their neck muscles aren't quite designed or aren't quite developed enough for that to really be the safest way for them to be sitting. And so I think one of the ideas behind the amendment was essentially to allow a parent to understand that under the new law, once you reach the age of 2, that's when you can flip that seat forward facing. Until then, the goal is to get it back to the rear facing to make sure that they're fully protected. And a lot of those seats can just flip back and forth the way that they're designed now to grow with the child.
So here's my question, Kevin and April, I'm going to just put you on the spot because this is your job. Do you like and want this amendment? Do you think this is going to make better policy for this Senate amendment or not? I mean, you're the experts here. You're the ones out there. We rely on you to advise us. So can you please give us a yes or no answer as best as you can without getting in trouble by the governor from the governor? It's just so frustrating. So frustrating.
No, the amendment with the warning we were okay with. We're okay with that.
Okay. All right, then that's.
I mean, April, I'm sorry. Can you just elaborate? Being okay with it is different than, I mean, is it the policy that the MVA feels like it needs?
So April, do you want me to?
Or either Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin or April.
So,
Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, so the way that the existing statute is written, the idea is, the way that it's written is more so designed for if you don't have a child safety seat at all. More so because the idea is that you come and show that you've either purchased and are having delivered or have in your possession now by the time of the court date the child safety seat that you didn't have. This one is more so with the idea that you have the child safety seat, obviously, because it's for someone under 2, but perhaps you just mistakenly didn't have them rear facing as you should have. And again, a lot of the equipment is designed to grow with the kid now. And so I think with that in mind, we're comfortable with this because the intent here is that this helps better educate the population that not just do they need to be in the seat, but until they're 2, they need to be rear facing. And it makes it easier for everybody to understand with these clear delineations this way.
Got it. And then the next question is how then does that education get out? Now, in most hospitals, when you didn't have a car seat, they'd give you the kind of the loaner to go home with until you, I think to your point to current legislation, current law, that they would, they'd be in compliance at least to get the baby home. And then once they get what they need, they return it or whatever. So
it's
yeah.
So it's via a couple means, obviously public outreach, campaigns with law enforcement. MVA did a series, I believe it was last summer, on child safety seats. We did a video series on that.
Okay, so you would be doing the outreach then. You would be making sure this information gets out so folks know that it's now rear facing.
Correct, yes.
Okay, then I'm happy.
Campaigns that we have, and also obviously via traffic stops as well.
Okay.
And the fire department, and police department, and MVA are all doing the same thing.
Right. So we have to move the amendment, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, no, we don't. We just have to move the bill. Yeah.
Move the bill.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the bill signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Bill passes. Senate Bill 218, same thing. It's an administrative bill, vehicle laws, driver's license, identification cards, temporary renewal. What is this? 218. Renting collective. That's right. No.
This just authorizes for certain people, namely active duty military and family, member of foreign service or family, resident a Marylander who's a student outside of the state, a resident of the state who is temporarily outside the state for at least 6 months, resident of the state that would otherwise expire during a state of emergency, i.e. COVID, and any other resident of the state who meets requirements approved by administration can get a 2-year extension on their license. It makes it more flexible for MVA to deal with situations like COVID.
Yes, move favorable.
COVID in there.
Thank you very much. Yep, nobody's against it.
No, everybody needs time.
Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Yes, I,
Great, okay. All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
I.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone. We are done.
Oh,